Recording going. Welcome again. It's exciting to see so many people here. And imagine if you could reclaim an entire day every single week. What would that be worth to you? Imagine the time you would free up. Would that be worth $199 a month? Yes or yes? Great. Now that we've got that off the table, we're going to be diving into something really valuable. In the next hour, you're going to discover how to harness the unstoppable power of AI, how to transform your day, your personal life, your professional life, and picture yourself stress-free. Imagine that the time, the energy, if your business was running like a well-oiled machine, what that would do for you. And this isn't just a webinar, this is really a turning point that hopefully you've been waiting for. And I invite you to step into your future and claim the productivity, the performance, the profitability that's really yours for the taking. And so before we get started, and by way of introduction, just want to share a little bit about my background and experience. And so I am really a recovering academic in many respects. I think when you look at um, my background, I've always been fascinated by high performance and what that looks like. And for me, I grew up around technology. You see a couple images here, and the image on the top left there with that phone in the little cradle, those are a phone that would go into an acoustic coupler. My dad worked for Western Electric, which was part of Bell Labs. They created that little coupling device early on. It was like the first modems that existed. And I remember he would bring home a briefcase that had that device in it, open it up, and we would dial in, and we could actually play with a computer. It was like teletype, and it would print out stuff. And it was a way of communicating. And I was just flabbergasted by that ability. But that led to my fascination with technology. And I remember getting the Mac SE, 1986, that came out, and then other tools. I had that mobile phone, the one that you plugged into your lighter. I was excited when that brick device came out, I think around, late 80s when that was available. And then of course, fast forward another decade or two to the iPhone and how that transformed things. And I think, I've heard people talk about AI as being as transformative as electricity. It was actually the CEO of Google who said that, I think about 8 years ago. And we've seen all sorts of things throughout our lives. Maybe depending on your age, you were around with a computer when that came out. But if not, I remember the internet when that came about. And I had actually finished my PhD at CU Boulder in business, and I was teaching as a professor. And I remember people talking about the internet and how we needed to have a focus on this internet everything. And certainly that was true. And as a business strategist, I recognized that that was going to be a pivotal point, that it wasn't a different way of doing business. That was going to be part of doing business moving forward. And so had the privilege of not only embracing technology, but raising a beautiful family, been married 27 years, two girls, one out of college, one still in the midst of that, learning about technology. And as a best-selling author, helping people really develop their leadership skills, technology is an important piece of that. But it's not only interacting with technology, it's understanding how to interact with people. And I had the foresight, I think, to start looking at AI many years ago. And in fact, one of the companies I was doing some strategy work with, I planted the seed. They had a methodology. And I said, you know what you could use is AI and turn this into a system. And it was later, that bottom picture, I had the opportunity to actually go with the CEO of that company to Google's cloud division headquarters and train the sales team on the use of an AI technology. So that's a little bit about me. And I think one of the things as we look at the impact we can have, and as someone who went on to not only be a professor, spent over a decade as a business school dean, chief academic officer, provost type roles, is recognizing that I got involved with online learning and the ability to provide learning across the globe, literally, into people that were coming in from different countries, having educated well over hundreds of thousands of students over the last couple of decades. And I think what excites me a little bit about that is the ability to transcend some borders. And so I want to share something with you because I think it's a really helpful way of thinking about what's possible. I remember Thomas Friedman, The World is Flat, and that particular book. So I want to share something with you real quick, but imagine the possibility of you communicating with anybody across the globe in a way that you can speak their language.
Are you ready to transform your business operations and overcome the
You
challenges
hear
holding
this?
you
Give me a
back?
thumbs up.
I'm Dr. Eric Goodman, and given my track record of proven results in strategy and change management,
So
I
I
know how
only
overwhelming it
speak
can be
English. I
to
did learn
navigate
a little
today's
bit of
fast-paced
Spanish in
business
high school,
environment.
but you sort of forget
Many
that.
small to
But
medium-sized
what would it be
businesses struggle with
like to
time-consuming
be able
manual
to
processes
actually not just speak
que
English, but to
consumen
be
mucho
able
tiempo, programas de
to
capacitación
speak another
ineficientes
language
y la presión
and share your
constante de
message
hacer más con
and
menos?
communicate in
Estos
business with
desafíos
clients
pueden agotar
across
los
the globe,
recursos
whatever
y
your business
obstaculizar
might
el
be?
crecimiento,
But
pero
not
no
just
tienen
French or I mean Spanish,
indem
but
ihre Schulungs- und
if
Entwicklungsprozesse
you want to reach
nicht nur
those people in
effizient,
Germany,
sondern auch unglaublich effektiv sind.
what would that be like?
Unsere hochmodernen KI
And then
方面的成功经
maybe
验，
some more
我甚至在当
complicated
今快速
languages,
发展
right?
的商业环
Like
境中，
Chinese.
导航是多么令人不知所措。
And you
许
get
多中
the
小型企
idea.
业也都在
Obviously,
于好事的
the
手动流
world
程、
is
效率
becoming increasingly flatter. And with that, whether it's
目标。
Chinese, if it
Du
was
changement, je
French,
sais à quel point il peut être accablant de naviguer dans l'environnement commercial rapide
possibilities
d'aujourd'hui.
are endless.
De nombreuses
So I
petites et
invite
moyennes
you
entreprises
to
luttent
think about what AI can enable you. And that obviously wasn't me. That was an avatar of me speaking those languages. But it's as easy as doing that. And with that, educational technologies and just technology in general has come such a long way. And I have the privilege of turning this over. I want my colleague, Dr. Samuel Helms, to introduce himself so you get a sense of his background and experience as well. And you're in for a treat today because you're going to walk away with some tangible things that you can begin applying right away in your life and business.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Eric. I absolutely love that video and hearing you speak Chinese and Italian and German all in the same like 10-second span. It's great.
Thank you.
So yes, I'm Samuel Helms. I spent about a little over 20 years now in the field of educational technology. And the way I would explain that is what I really look for is I find and evaluate ways technology can help people perform better. So in the sense of education, that could be a classroom. I love Eric's phrase of recovering academic. I consider myself in that same category. But in academia, when I was working with it, I really got a passion for that, finding ways that technology could enhance performance, like on that boots on the ground level. So whether it's something like the old cell phones, I remember those when I was younger, the plugging them into the old cigarette lighter and typing in all the buttons and hitting send and kind of hoping it went through. If you weren't on Roam at any particular moment. And I also remember with the rise of online, the image at the bottom is, I don't know if anyone remembers those, the old bulletin board systems through the dial-up modem, which, having said that out loud, if you're old enough to remember, I'm sure that sound just came into your mind of what that sounded like to log in through one of those dial-ups. It's one of like my home phone number. I don't think I'll forget that sound. But I remember looking in, when I started exploring online, I started seeing, well, this is really interesting because it's allowing us to connect with people in ways that we wouldn't have been able to do, prior to online. And of course, that's exploded into social media, and watching how that's grown and how that's changed different industries. So watching online grow, and then mobile coming onto the picture, and smartphones, and how that changed the idea of online. So now everyone was online all the time. Not just at a computer. So as I would watch these, I kind of just from a point of fascination would say, well, how does that help? How can we use that technology, whatever it is, to improve our performance? And by performance, I mean just whatever skill or task that you have in front of you. So if it's teaching, let's do that. If it's learning as a student, let's do that. If it's creating sales script and business optimized business plans and that kind of thing, then that's what we're looking at. So that process connected with that passion of mine to really just help others succeed and help them navigate through this interface of technology and human performance. And like as a side thing, mixed martial arts is a passion of mine in the background, and I see a lot of that applied. I like the mixed martial arts because it kind of takes the technology piece out of it and reminds, it's like, okay, there's a body here. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use myself in this piece, and I'm going to use that kind of as a framework going forward, because one of the things I want to talk about is like AI is not just all one thing. It's AI plus you. AI plus you is the real sort of magic and the gift, so to speak. There we go. So the AI iceberg, use this analogy of the AI iceberg. We like this because it's in an hour presentation, we can get into only the tip of the iceberg. And there's a huge, vast potential. Like we know that, right? When we look at the iceberg that, was it 80, 90% of it is actually below the water. So in this sense, like there's a whole lot of AI capabilities and potential out there that we don't have time to touch on in one hour, but we have a lot of other ways to get into that. When we start talking about the big value add as it comes up for AI, the opportunity for continuous growth, try teaching yourself things with AI, like in ChatGPT, it can adapt to your learning style. And also the true transformative power of it. Like Eric was talking about with online and with cell phones and with now smartphones. I've heard this compared to electricity. I've heard AI compared to fire, that's a pretty big one. I'm like, I don't know if we can go as far as fire, but electricity and all the adjacent technologies that come from that. So now that we have these systems that can generate and process the, large language data or images or whatever, how do we use that and plug it into our processes so that it really opens up the transformative power, adjacent possible, as one of our mentors called it. Oh, and then we wanted to get an idea of your experience. So
Yeah, so type in the chat, how familiar are you? And you can see the numbers there that correspond with your level of familiarity. No experience, type of 1. 2, are you a beginner and maybe using a few tools periodically, just out of curiosity, exploring a little bit? Or are you 3, a regular user using AI daily in things that you're doing in personally, professionally? I see all the range. And if you're an expert working with AI systems, developing technologies, things like that, type in the chat 4. So we have a couple 3s. So I'm curious, for those of you who indicated 3 that are regular users, what are some of the tools that you're using? Just type in the chat, type the things that you're using, either the name of the tool or what types of things are you working with AI. Would love to get a better sense of that. So as we move to the next slide, though, I see that there's, Chat GPT. We're going to be talking about that. Obviously, there's a lot of different tools that are out there. And I think, you'll glean some things too from people to share. So we encourage you to share what you're using. Gemini is another tool similar to Chat GPT. You see Canvas AI, excellent for some image generation. We'll be sharing some of that for some of you who are not as familiar. We also invite you to share your aha moments as we go through this. Whenever something clicks or you have an insight or something you want to hear more about, type aha and then give us an idea of what the aha was. Like, is that something that will be useful to you in the future? Because we want to be able to learn and grow together as we go through the remainder of this webinar today. So as we look at the next slide, there's a couple of things that are really mind-boggling to me because the world of AI is evolving so fast. And so when we look at how fast it's evolving, I think compared to other things that have been introduced, because we talked about some of the transformations with the computer and the iPhone and things like that. But you can see the time it took certain different technologies to reach 1 million users. You can see Netflix, 3.5 years, Airbnb, 2.5, Facebook, only 10 months, Spotify, 5 months, Instagram, 2.5, and the iPhone, only 74 days. But yet, Chat GPTs, look at that, 5 days. Isn't that crazy when you think about it? And with any technology, there's an adoption curve. And as we move to the next slide to talk about that, what you see is that we're really in this portion, AI was something that really has been adopted by those early researchers and technology people that were really into trying to figure out, and it's been around a long time, obviously, but it wasn't until generative AI came along that we saw more people adopting it because it made it easy for people to be able to access it. So we're really now between that early adopter and early majority area where when you cross what's called the chasm, you begin seeing that place where you get the early majority, sort of that adoption. And you don't want to be in that late majority or the laggard. So I applaud, give yourself a pat on the back for being here. The fact that you're already thinking about AI is really impressive because when you look at the laggards, they're going to be left behind. And we talked about Netflix on that last slide. And you think about sort of the blockbusters of the world. that ignored the shifts that were happening, and where are they now? And I think it was Peter Diamandis said there's by the end of this decade, there's going to be two types of business: those that are using AI and those that are no longer in business. And I think when you look at your own career and your personal, professional abilities, it's really important. And what's crazy is we just shared, that ChatGPT reached that 1 million mark within 5 days. It was I believe it was last November, they hit the 100 million mark. Just yesterday, they crossed 200 million users using it weekly. Think about that. And when you look at AI adoption, 50% of companies are using AI. That's up from 20% in 2017. In terms of productivity, increasing productivity up to 40%. It's huge. Time savings, cutting repetitive tasks by 20 to 30%, reducing costs by 25%, and profit margins. AI-driven businesses see 19% higher profit margins. And what's really powerful is this trend you see, because obviously, again, the innovators, the early majority or the early adopters, there's still a tremendous skills gap. 56% of leaders report a lack of AI talent as a barrier. So the fact that you're here once again and that you're learning about these technologies and what's possible to supercharge and really give you superpowers with AI to take your life to the next level is really powerful. And so what we want to do is share some educational approaches, speaking of a skills gap, that you'll be able to take with you so that you can understand how to effectively do that. And when it comes to learning, you've got to start with some basic terminology to begin with. So as we move to the next slide, we'll get into that.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes, and that's a great point, because it's one of the things that we want to do. Both being educators, that's something we try to add is like, okay, what piece of knowledge, how can we help on the webinar so you have a nugget to take away with you to help fill in that skills gap. So this is we'll start with some of the basic kind of terminology as we get into this. So you hear a lot about this prompts. The prompt is essentially input, or it doesn't have to be a question, it can be a statement, but like a statement to complete something. But it's what you're asking the AI to do. It's usually text, it can be audio as well. But usually, as we'll show in here, it's a text prompt. You just type it in, okay, well, I want you to do this. And there's ways, the whole strategy has developed around what used to be called sort of prompt engineering, or prompt optimization might be a better word. It's not really an engineering question. It's more of a language question. English majors should fit right in here. The completion or the output is what the AI produces. So we prompt it, and its completion or its output is what the AI generated response. Generative AI is a term that often gets, when people say AI, including us, it's kind of gotten colloquial now. When people say AI, often we mean generative AI. And generative AI is specifically designed to create new content, not content that just repeats what's already there, but genuinely new stuff by recombining it in different ways. And that's its brain, so to speak. That large language model behind it is what allows it to do that. So by prompting it, it will generate a completion or an output, as a way to think about that. An agent is a more advanced AI, and it's becoming more and more popular. So generative AI, we have like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude are three of the biggest ones. Llama from Meta is another good example of a text-based generative AI. Also, we have other ones that we'll show you, like Midjourney for images and stuff like that, also work in generative AI. Agents take actions. Agents can take an action for you on their own. So if you like type into ChatGPT, hey, send me an email about something, it will say it can't do that. It's just not able to put that out there. Agents can, and those are a little bit more complex. And we're starting to see these agent kind of networks being built out, where it's these different AI agents that are talking to each other in the background and can perform a lot of tasks just completely autonomously with very little human in the loop interaction, except for like key checkpoints to make sure the outputs, the completion and the output is what you want. And the different kinds of model. So the model usually refers to we were talking about this just a second ago, like the ChatGPT is is one of their large language models. Other different models would include the Llama, that's an open source one for Meta that's quite good actually. And Gemini is another model. Midjourney is an image model. So there's the different models. You could think of it as like almost like different software programs. They'll do it in a little bit different way. So like for example, this model that we're using right now of PowerPoint, of a program of PowerPoint, other models might be Google Slides or Gamma or some of these, other, or what is it? Apple Keynote, that's the one I was trying to think of. So those could be considered different models in an analogous way. They do similar things. They create slideshows, but they use a different sort of brain behind it to do that. And these are the different AI models out there, kind of similar. So they behave in similar ways, but you'll find that certain ones just kind of work better for you. So the AI value curve. So where is this like, so where is the value in AI? How do we see it sort of starting to play in, especially if we think of that adoption curve from the early adopters and stuff. So where are we here? How does this work? Well, this is kind of what we've seen working with clients and things here is like, the basic tool, you kind of start at this discovery phase. We're just kind of getting an idea of what AI is. Maybe usually it's ChatGPT, 200 million users yesterday, which is pretty timely for this presentation. We did not time the presentation knowing that was going to happen, obviously. But that's pretty neat. So as those kinds of things are adopted, we see the basic AI applications for specific tasks. So kind of hopping into ChatGPT, giving it a prompt and trying to get it to produce some things. You get that definitely starts to add the value. Once we start, we'll show an example of this here just shortly, but getting into the more advanced prompts, it's like, oh, okay, how do you ask it a question? And just thinking of it as from a teacher perspective, or even just as a business perspective, I guess if you're talking to a coworker or something like that, how do you explain the task to the person so that they'll understand it and be able to go do it on their own? And hopefully not come back to you and ask follow-up questions, right? So it's a similar kind of thought process. It's like, how do I explain this in a way that whatever I'm explaining it to is going to understand what I want it to do in the end? Chain prompts and other similar kind of prompting techniques like few shot, this is now we're kind of sinking below that water level in the iceberg. So we're not going to get into this part yet, but in this presentation, but chain prompts are a more advanced way of doing this, where it's instead of just one prompt, you're using a series of them that build on each other and build on the completion and output from the previous prompt from the AI. And you get some really sophisticated and really detailed documents that way through chain prompting. And then when we have the pivot, so the pivot is really where we start to get into agents, and that's where AI starts to get way more autonomous. And a lot of the work that we do with clients and talking with them, they're looking for this pivot point. They're saying, okay, yes, our team kind of uses ChatGPT in the background. Maybe you have your own team's private instance of ChatGPT or something like that you could use on that level. And people have gotten a little sophisticated prompts, but you kind of reach a plateau from that point. Well, when you add the autonomous agents in, now you really see the curve start to change, because the AI moves so much faster than people in the background that it can really start leveraging up. And then really on this high end, the business transformation comes in creating these custom models. And so remember, the model is like that software program. So what if you could take, say, PowerPoint? So it always produced every single time your exact style guide for your business, for example. So if you could take PowerPoint, and so it would always do that, there would not be any errors. Well, when we get into the AI, we're talking about the training and fine tuning. So we're taking one of those models and we're saying, like say ChatGPT 4.0 mini or something like that. We'll take one of these little models and we want it to be specialized in our business. We want this model to know exactly what we do at our company. Now the results that it produces for you, the completion and the output, are much more on point and require much less prompting and much less work on your part. This increases the automation aspect of it, reduces the human load, and really drives into that transformation. Oops. And we see it kind of organized around like 5 different buckets, if you will, 5 big buckets. So text, there's a lot of them that work with text. The large language models work with text usually. Like this is the ones we were mentioning: ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, things like that. Image, there's a lot of great image ones out there that can generate artwork, designs, visual content. The video one, it could be text to video. So you just type it in, hey, create a short video for me on this. Like the ones that Eric was showing earlier with the video avatars is a good example of that. Audio, there's text to audio, text to music, voice synthesis, sound effects, so that you can clone yourself, such as, again, such as the one that we were showing earlier, and the music earlier. And then the actions. And these are where we get into the more of the agents, the AI that can take some sort of action on your behalf. Instead of just producing an output, it can actually follow through on an action. This is sort of kind of in the early phases of it, but an example might be, and I think it will probably be here in the fall, where you can ask your phone, just, hey, make me a reservation for tonight at 6 p.m. at this restaurant. And it will go through the series of steps of looking up the restaurant, finding out how to reserve it, and doing it all for you. That level of autonomization is absolutely incredible. Looking at the different tools, like there's so many out there, it's wild. I can't even think of an analogy because it's just moving so quickly. It's just like all these new things just keep popping out. I guess it'd be like walking out into your yard and seeing new weeds. Every day there's new weeds growing out in your yard, right? It's just like a constant process. So there's lots of different ways of kind of looking at all these different tools that are out there. This is one way we kind of categorizing it based on these different buckets. And of course, coding is a good example of that too, for software programming. But then we also have, if we look at it more of the business side and kind of categorize these different things by, say, productivity, customer support, automation and design, sales, like there's different ones that fall into these different buckets and all work. They'll have their, like any other comparing software, right? It's like each have their own advantage and disadvantage. And a lot of it is, I think, personal style and the type of output that it produces that is most relevant to your business. And sometimes there's great tools, but they just don't produce the kind of thing that you're looking for specifically to you. So how do we get this to do its thing? And this is also part of the educational aspect that we want to do here, the prompting framework. So when we're asking the AI to take a role, or, here's what we want you to do, there's like 5 different things that we could add in there. A task, we want to describe what do we want it to do, but let's add some context to it here. Okay, what is it? Why are we asking it to do that? Who is it for? Audience and purpose are great examples of that, including, say, the level of the language. You could say like a 10th grade level or a more advanced level or less. You can adjust it as you want. The format, including specific content and formatting. Otherwise, it will just kind of guess and go with what it thinks you want. But if you're looking for, say, a table, then you can specify, I need a table that I can copy and paste and put into Google Sheets or something like that. Or if you have, headers and a specific document format that you have, you can enter that in as well. Guardrails are boundaries and restrictions on it. This is really useful especially if you're giving the tool to other people to use, to say, okay, but you're supposed to focus on, say, generating sales scripts, not anything else. If they ask questions about other stuff that's not related to sales scripts, gently remind them that we're here to work on sales scripts and not, Facebook posts for for personal use or something like that. And then finally, a tone and style. So is it a professional style? Are you looking for like a marketing style, or is it humorous? Is it poetic? Is it song lyrics? Maybe we want it to generate something in the format of song lyrics. You can tell it to do that too. So let's take a look at this real quick and see kind of how this works and how it changes it. So I need to hop out of that. So we're going to hop in here. All right, let's try. I'm just going to enter a very straightforward prompt. So if you're not familiar with what I'm looking at, which I think most people are, so I'll just give a quick overview. This is OpenAI's ChatGPT. This is probably one of the more, 200 million users right now. Like, it is by far kind of the leading model in all this. And right now I'm using ChatGPT 4.0, and there's different models underneath that we can see, the 4.0 mini and GPT-4. I think they probably yanked 3.5. But let me enter in a straightforward prompt. In this case, I'm just going to give it the task, and that's all. And we'll see what this produces. Okay. So as it writes, I'll kind of give you a play-by-play of what I'm seeing as it's doing this. So yes, it's doing the task, but if you notice, I'll scroll up so we don't get that. There we go. So this piece here, it knows who we are because I'm working in our workspace. just to give you some context of where it got this piece of information from. And you'll see it in here, memory updated. So it's adding, it remembers previous conversations. So it's adding a little bit from what it remembers. But as you see, it's kind of all relatively vague. So for example, industry news, it just says post an update on the list. It doesn't really say what the update might be. So let's give it a little bit, let's make this more sophisticated. Let's give it all the roles that we just talked about. So hold it for a second. Let me copy paste this out here. So if we give it all of those roles, and this is a little trick that I see to be able to compare prompts to each other, is to go up and click edit message. And in this case, I'm just going to delete that and paste in this one. So this prompt is much different. So this time we have the same task, but we're going to give it a role. Its role is a social media marketing expert. Now, this is an interesting piece, who works with business owners with the limited marketing knowledge. So in other words, it knows not to expect too much at one time. And then we have a much more detailed description of the task, the audience, the format. Okay, we need it to work in these different contexts. And then format it using a table. And then below, I have our business value, so it knows to expect this, and audience. So let me hit send here. So now we have a full spectrum of context for this. Okay. This is more helpful. This is probably more like what we would be looking for in an actual use case in business, right? It's like, okay, yeah, here's a table that we can actually use. And it has the days lined out. It's got the different hashtags, relevant hashtags for it, the content topics, and the detailed case studies. We have a lot more information, and it goes into a posting schedule. So the level of detail that you get out of it really depends on what's put in. The more, the better, but sometimes it can be helpful to use this technique here to, and here we go. Okay, there we go. This technique here to compare. So if I scroll back up using these little carrots, you can compare this one and with the original post to this one with this one. And I like this technique because it allows you to kind of, go back up and edit this post, change different things, hit submit, and then you can slide back and forth and compare them to each other. However, let's say you don't want to work with the typing all this in. Well, that's why there's some other tools out there. So let me just take this one in the essence of time here. I'll take this Leadmaster AI. So this one, we just need a little bit of information from you. So we'll just say, I just typed in AI consulting and advising for small business, and small businesses looking to scale. Those are the only two required. If I had more, I could put in current methods that I currently use. And I'll hit generate here and let that roll. Tell you what, I think this one is still, we'll hit generate on Promo Pro here. So this is creating high quality marketing content tailored to the business needs. So this is using this information through a series of prompts. In this case, we're using chain prompts in the background to add that layer of sophistication. And this will bated anticipation here. I was waiting for the demo glitch. And as you can see here, so this time, so it just took this little bit of information I gave it and started producing much more interesting information here. Now we have the needs and challenges of our target audience, psychographic information, recommendations for lead generation methods, lead qualification criteria, challenges that lead acquisition, proposed solutions, KPIs. And the great thing about tools like these is I can go right up here and change this information and hit generate again to get something new. Promo Pro looks like it's still rolling. Well, that gives a good idea. Eric, do you want to?
Yeah, well, so
I'll pull up Promo Pro when it hops back up.
With this, these are tools that we've built to make it easy, simple, stupid almost.
Yeah.
To be able to enter some information, and it builds on each other, but from business plan, marketing strategies, sales approaches, social media, if you're podcast scripts, I mean, you name it, we can create it. And we've got a lot of these interfaces that we built for you to just enter some basic information. And then behind the scenes, we're doing the more sophisticated prompting to generate the types of output that you see there. So I think you can see it simplifies that in a way. In this example, obviously, you can see, you can have it generate the most popular hashtags, email marketing campaign. If you need a series of emails for events you're holding or launching a product or doing something, a new program, if you're a coach or consultant working with people, like what do you want to be generating that's helpful to you? So those are a few other things that these types of tools take the ease out of, or make it really easy. Take the challenges out of knowing how to engineer a prompt. They say it's garbage in, garbage out. And that's really a lot of what I see with some of the technologies that are out there. When people are prompting, they don't know how to prompt. But even that simple framework that Samuel was sharing will make you 90% better than most of the people out there in terms of your ability to use AI if you're making sure you're giving it that role, the context, and so forth, and really specifying the output and some of those constraints, the guardrails, and so forth, to make it more powerful. So, what we thought we'd do too is, we mentioned obviously that's one opportunity to generate text. Of course, you have the ability as well to generate images. And I saw Canva is something that somebody's using for some image things, obviously a wide range of areas. This is a tool called Midjourney that I started using probably well over a year ago. And it's evolved significantly. I was playing around with it earlier. I was like, give me an image of a robot chef with some holographic images. But what's cool about this is you can put in any type of prompt. And we can actually build GPTs or bots for individuals or for businesses to leverage so that they can use those to be able to interact and create the range of the types of things that you were seeing before. My daughter does some social media, and so she was doing some work for an Italian restaurant. So, for example, I can just put in a request, I want an Italian themed restaurant with happy customers. And so gone are the days, although there's still a lot of those image libraries that are out there that are, can be helpful, of course. But if you don't want stock imagery, whoops, let's see, am I sharing? Yep. It looks like it's.
Yes, it looks like it.
Okay. We'll give it a minute to generate. But you can create literally your imagination. There's no limit to what you can create in here. So I'm looking for an image and I can't find it in, a stock photo. I can just grab those types of images. It just generated. And I can be as specific as I'd like. And I can also even just generate an image of myself, and I can overlay that in terms of things that I might want to be in. So you can see, there's a range of things that you can do with a tool like that. So it's incredibly powerful to be able to utilize that. Let me just shift gears real quickly. Give me just 1 second. And as we talk about, some of the opportunities there beyond just static images, there's the ability to create multimedia in powerful ways. And so an example of that is something that literally I did just this morning and said, okay, I want to create a video. And this took me less than 3 minutes from my prompt to having a finished video. And I think back, I used to do a lot of things. We were creating online courses, custom training for companies, and we'd have to send in a film crew. We'd have the multimedia and the editing and everything else. And then you got to put the wording on. Those projects would cost tens of thousands of dollars and take weeks sometimes. So this is an example of a video created in minutes.
In today's fast-paced digital landscape, the ability to harness artificial intelligence is no longer just an advantage. It's a necessity. With 80% of marketers reporting that AI has transformed their strategies, it's clear that understanding AI can elevate your engagement to unprecedented levels. Imagine overcoming the pain points of content creation, endless brainstorming sessions, writer's block, and the struggle to connect with your audience. AI tools can generate compelling copy in seconds, analyze data to tailor messages, and even predict trends before they emerge. Consider this. Businesses that adopt AI see an average increase of 30% in productivity. This is your opportunity to gain superpowers, to automate mundane tasks, and focus on what truly matters, building relationships and crafting impactful narratives. Learning about AI isn't just about keeping up, it's about leaping ahead. Embrace this technology and watch as it accelerates your success like never before. Your future self will thank you.
So again,
In today's fast-paced digital
that's just one example, and there's a lot of video generation tools out there that you can leverage for that. And of course, the level of sophistication of that and the types of interactions you can have beyond the video to the automations and everything else, really is endless. So, and of course, I was trying, and with that tool, I could have selected a non-scary voice. I saw that in the chat.
I did too.
There's
That was a
there's
good
everything.
comment.
There's dozens of voices you can select from. I could have used my own voice and cloned it to actually speak that. In the same way, obviously, I shared the avatar earlier of me actually talking. You can do that real time in different situations. You can have your virtual clone supporting your website. If you've got, if you work with individuals one-on-one, maybe in training or coaching or things like that, they could have access to you 24/7 based on your book, your knowledge, your information, who you are. We can train it to be able to do that and then to get responses back real time with you, either through chat, either through you talking, hearing your own voice, or even your avatar appearing, talking back to them. It's amazing the types of things that you can do with this. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Samuel.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, that's I love that video. And working in video in I don't know, forever ago at this point, it amazes me because thinking of that, how long that would have taken to create that just from scratch on my own. Yeah, it's profound. So the video kind of introduced us to a framework for using AI and how to optimally generate stuff with it. And where does this kind of fall in place in our kind of day to day? And this is something that I've seen with keeping up with this process. One thing I'll just say with the as hard as that might be with the speed with which AI is moving, one of the things I would say, what became kind of my motto in educational technology, is as hard as it might be to keep up, it is way easier to keep up than it is to catch up. So if it slips too far away, it's much harder to kind of make up that gap and kind of get back with it. That's why the webinars like these are so valuable. Because it kind of keeps you in the loop and keeps you in the thing of what's going on, how things are changing. Like something like this, so how to use this, how to think about AI in your business, how to think about AI in your applications. How does it work? Where would you position it in your process flow? Well, one thing we kind of recommend starting with is the first kind of 10% is your vision. It starts from you. It starts from the human. It doesn't start from the AI. At least right now, it starts from the human. It does not start from the AI. So there's a moment of okay, this is part of that prompt optimization, right? It's okay, what am I trying to get this thing to produce? How do I phrase it? How do I tell it what I want it to do? But also thinking about the tools and the best tools for the job, so to speak. Maybe it's ChatGPT, maybe it's just open out of the box ChatGPT, but as the use cases get more specific, usually it's not ChatGPT. You're looking for more like the tools we were showing that, a specific task to promotional content or marketing content, things like that will work better for you than just the out of the box ChatGPT or Claude or any of those usually. So, but you start with this at kind of 10% your vision, and then the big lift, and this is where I really see so many things are going to start changing, is 80% of that. Once you have your idea, you give it to the AI to just roll with it and generate that heavy lifting of all the content for you. The video is a great example of that, and the amount of time that would have taken to produce and put together. So 10%, Eric, you're thinking about what do you want in the video? What's the prompt that you want to give? What would the text? What's the narration? You give that, and it takes this huge chunk of it for you. And at the end, there's a 10% another human effort, which is the edit and refine. A lot of the content that's produced by AI, it's great. It's really close, but it's every now and then, if it's something that's short and to the point, you can usually sometimes just copy and paste it, use it as is. But a lot of times I've noticed that it needs a little bit of a human touch, a little bit more of a fine tuning, so to speak, on some of the language and possibly some of the formatting. That's the overall process that I've seen used with it. But using this general framework, that 80% using AI in the middle, that's your, a day or more of your week that suddenly comes back. That using AI to leverage all that piece is great. And personally, I find these the start and the completion much more interesting than the creation. I like coming up with the idea and then kind of refining it and editing it and like letting the AI just kind of take the heavy lifting part of what was formerly click, 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 type, 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 click, undo, undo, save, click. So now we're in a new age. So I'll kick it back over to you, Eric, because we have some exciting offers and opportunities for where we're going with this.
Yeah, so I wanted to share, and those of you who showed up have an opportunity to have access to some of the tools that we were sharing, or at least get the output of them. Samuel was sharing some of the tools. These are slightly different ones. If you need a business plan, if you need a marketing plan, a sales strategy, a social media strategy, a brand book, things like that, I invite you to scan this QR code and enter your business yourself for a chance to win one of those comprehensive reports, plans, if you will, to take your business to the next level. So please scan that and you'll see a similar interface. Just a couple of questions about your business that you fill in, and depending on which one you want, and we'll be doing a drawing for that as well. And it'll give you a sense of the power. I mean, literally, I used to teach business strategy and small business and entrepreneurship, and I'd have students for a semester developing a business plan. And there's consultants out there that will charge tens of thousands of dollars to build a business plan. And the type of business plans, some were the 100-page business plans that someone could go into a bank and get a loan on. Other times I had executives developing a business plan, which was maybe in a Fortune 100 company. It was a little bit more condensed, but still, we built tools to help you do that literally in minutes. And to save those tens of thousands of dollars with some of these things, because we can have AI act like that expert in lots of different areas. I wanted to share that opportunity. And then more importantly, when we look at the opportunity, obviously we were scratching the tip of the iceberg today, as Samuel mentioned, and the world of AI is evolving so fast. And the question is, are you keeping up? And I saw somebody typed in the chat, it's better to keep up than to catch up. And that's for sure. And there's so many things coming out daily, and the technology is evolving and the skill set's changing. And you saw those stats about the number of people that are not up to speed with the AI talent. 56% of executives saying okay, or 56% of people are not there yet. So how do you get there? And so we have created a business and AI mastermind group that is dedicated to you to expose you to the latest tools, not only tools that we're continuing to develop and having access to those, but also other tools, things that are coming out. I saw someone say, yeah, there's 20 apps a day. There's a lot more than 20 things a day coming out. I get tool reports from multiple sources every morning, and there are dozens and dozens of new things hitting the market daily. So to try to keep up with that and stay plugged into what's really working. And I mentioned that day in your life back per week. And you saw actually it's probably more than that when you look at some of the productivity estimates that are closer to 30%, some cases even 40%. That's 1 or 2 days a week that you're getting back in your life. And so is it worth it to you for just $199 a month to be a part of a community that will have a monthly live meeting, access to the AI tools with the type of interface that Samuel was sharing, interactive hot seats, an online community where there's ongoing support, collaboration, and whatnot. And then the best part of it is you'll have early access to tools that we're rolling out. Typically, several new tools, new prompt interfaces each month as part of that offering. So, and for being here today and taking the time out, we want to have a special offer because you guys are really the early movers, if you will. I would say, And to get your time back to skyrocket your productivity, we want to offer this to you not for $199 a month, but for $99 a month. You'll get the hot seat, you'll have access to these tools so you can start generating a lot of these things. And that's through Tuesday. We want to offer that to you. And I think it'd be helpful too. You've got the QR code, you can scan that. But we do have a few minutes left. Samuel, if you would want to, I don't know if it's helpful to go into that interface and actually show people a little bit of what it looks like if you happen to have that up. Don't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah. Let me unscreen share for a second while I pull that up. How about that?
And again, there's things that from a user interface perspective, we're constantly enhancing and improving, but building towards. And there's a number of other tools beyond those 5 or 6 that I shared that you could be entered for a drawing for, and many other ones that are not yet built into the portal that we've created to make it easy for you to have access to the prompts. There's also things that just really simplify it, to have access to that and to be able to build something really extraordinary together. And then also to be able to provide us with your feedback on, what you want in your business, what are the tools and things that would be helpful to you, would go a long way. So while you're doing that, any questions people have, feel free to type in the chat as well. We do have a few minutes left. And also we put the information with the link to the form for the drawing in the chat. So you'll see that there as well as the mastermind. So yeah, really looking at this in a powerful way when you think about what is your time worth. When I do business strategy work, a lot of times, particularly with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, a lot of professionals end up doing $10 an hour work. And so what is your time worth? And is it worth, $99 a month to get that extra day back a week and have access to those? So I invite you to think about that as well. So what questions, if any, do you have? Let's see. I see. Yeah, so
I thought I'd
there
just pull
are
up this
tools
interface.
that
Yeah.
can generate different prompts and things like that. There are some image generation tools. Even ChatGPT uses Dolly to generate images. So you can actually generate images in that. You don't have to go with like a Mid-Journey. And you can do quite a bit. There is a free tool for ChatGPT. It's on the 3.5 versus the 4.0 version of it. So it's not as robust in terms of what you can do. But some of the tools that we're building will access other tools to be able to allow you to pull in certain things. But
absolutely,
we haven't yet expanded, but we are looking at, how we integrate some of the video generation and some of the other image generation directly into these tools. So Sam, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you for pulling that up.
Oh yes, I just thought
Hello.
thanks for.
Hi.
Oh, hi there. Yeah, did you have a question?
How are you doing?
Okay, much better.
I will mute that. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to just thanks for the. Well, we have a couple of minutes here, so I could just show kind of what this looks like. This is the one of the bots that we showed here, but this is the build out of the full suite. And what's in here, we'll do all kinds of different things, usually using the same kind of information. And the idea was that, like, we really want to be able to leverage the AI for that 80%. So it's doing that heavy lifting. So when it comes to like building these, we think of it from a user interface as like, what is the minimal amount of information that you need? Obviously, more is better. There's a kind of a saying with AI: garbage in, garbage out. And so we add additional opportunities here, like the current methods, which is not a required field for this particular one. So if you have current methods that you're using in this particular case for lead acquisition, you can enter them here, and that will change the prompt and change the output, and how it works. Another example, the brand craft. So this one uses slightly different information. In this case, the target audience is a little bit more optional, but to really get the brand, it's going to work with the core values in your business description. So it's kind of just an example of the different things that we're putting together for you here. And we build this out continuously. There's more and more. We will often hop on in the morning and be like, oh, we got another idea for one that we could put together. And we'll put it together, add it in there, and give it a user test and make sure it has that optimal user interface and is producing something that's a true value for the business owners. Another thing I'll add about the mastermind group is working with educational technology in the sense of it's easier to keep up than it is to catch up. The follow-up question to that might be, how do I keep up? Webinars are one, but the way I've really found works best with keeping up is to be in a group with people who are on the same mission, because you can learn from each other, and you're learning from each other in ways that are authentic to what you're doing in your business in the moment right now. And that sort of collaboration and sharing leverages everybody's abilities, and everyone grows together in ways that it's hard to when just trying to learn a new skill such as this completely on your own.
Yeah, thank you, Samuel, for sharing that. So again, and maybe you can pull back up that last slide so that if people didn't get a
Oh,
chance to
absolutely. Yes, I'll do that real
capture
quick.
the QR code, it's in the chat as well, the link. But again, this is a combination. It's the best of both worlds, because what I find out there as an educator is exactly what Samuel talks about. There's a lot of things I can go get, a subscription to this tool, that tool, or other tools, but no one's really there to support me. I can go in the help desk and try to figure it out. But ultimately, to be in a group of like-minded people and that can really collaborate to get your time back, to skyrocket your productivity, to transform your life in a way that you can actually be one of those forward-thinking people before the laggards, right? To get involved, to figure out what it's like. And again, for those that want to seize the moment, like Carpe Diem, right? We're offering a special. It's exclusive offer, access to our mastermind, and the powerful suite of tools that will continue to grow, not for $199 a month, but for $99 a month. It's your chance to join us, to be part of the early adopters who will set the standard for success and be those that are around at the end of the decade, and not those that are replaced by AI, I guess you could say. Because I was actually speaking at Denver Startup Week last year, and someone asked that question, is like, AI going to replace my job? I'm like, no, AI is not going to replace your job, but the person who knows how to use AI is the one that's going to replace you. So don't let this opportunity slip away. We'd love to have you join us and build something extraordinary together. You know how to contact us as well, Innovate AI Systems.
Oh,
Feel
yes.
free to reach out. And if there's any other questions, we'll stick around for a few minutes and answer them. So just want to open it up to anything else you might be wondering about.
Excellent. Thank you, Eric. I'm going to type our email into the chat as well.
Okay. Thank you. And we recognize your time is precious, and that's why we're dedicated. I'm focused on having more time. That's the one thing people have said, money can't buy, but you know what? In effect, AI can help you actually achieve that. I used to teach TQM and quality operations, trying to maximize, the efficiency and the effectiveness. And there's nothing quite like AI that can actually allow you to do that effectively. It was interesting. As a quick side note, I was just reading an article this morning about Walmart. They're going through their product catalog using AI, and they said that process alone will take them 1% of the resources that they used to use in the past. Think about that. The efficiency gained by using AI, it's just a staggering statistic. So, and you're going to see it permeating more and more of what's going on. The interactive AI, the voice AI, lots of different examples of that. So any questions that people have?